all His doing, and we're just vessels. So if I have Agya Guruji, I will quickly share about how Guruji Maharaj initiated me. I can still hear myself. Sorry, one moment. So this body was born in Iran, and ever since I can remember, I was guided into the spiritual path since my childhood. And Guruji Maharaj truly takes you back to your journey and connects everything after a while. And the more you connect to him and the more you sit with him, he just connects everything. So I moved in with my grandma, who was very spiritual. And I know a lot of people have heard this satsang, but as we know, he gets us to hear the satsangs repeatedly, just like I do of Anita's and many other, satsangs, Aunty, Commander Sharma, like everyone. There's a blessing every time. And I used to question this all the time to Guruji Maharaj, that here I am sharing again, but I realized that even when I'm hearing someone else's, I get something new. So it's like, what's so different about this? But we analyze ourselves so much, I think, as Sangat, and he just keeps showering so much love and grace. But anyway, so I going back to the satsang, I moved in with my grandmother, who was very spiritual, living in a Muslim country like Iran. Most families are very religious, but mine was not at all. Of course, is Muslim family, but I just remember my grandma always saying, let love be your religion. And even though she visited Mecca 7 times and was like, she never missed a prayer. And I mean, she didn't. If 4 a.m. was the time for namaz, she would wake up and do that. But she never forced it down. And I remember one time there was this auntie of mine that said, Grandma, why don't you, son is living with you pretty much all the time, so why don't you teach her how to do the Islamic prayer? And she said, God is so much bigger that if he wants her to do it, she will get called to it. Who am I to tell her what to do? And he's much bigger. And I had really truly forgotten all of these, and Guruji Maharaj kept reminding me, and then he would bring an aunt of mine that would confirm, what my grandma used to say. So his divinity is so amazing. So she would just always say, love and be a good human being, and let that be your own religion. That should be your religion. Don't be like the, these mullahs in Tehran. And of course, she never talked behind anybody, and she always believed that everybody has a journey, and whatever conscious and wisdom that you have, that's also injected by divinity. So for you to say, why is this person like this, or why is this person like that, you have to understand that you're pretty much you're putting down God's God's way of it's God who gives wisdom. And if you're saying, why is it that someone doesn't have that wisdom, you're pretty much telling God that he's not doing his job right. So but anyway, so she would always be like, don't be like these people who just announce Islam, and but then they do the opposite and harm people. This is not religion. This is not godly. Don't do any of the prayer, but just be a good human being, and that's enough. It's like, she was blessed with this wisdom from and she always injected it into me. But I just heard it, and I was around this vibration. I called her my mom because I was literally raised by her. And my mom, my physical mom, Seema, just called her my sister, literally, or her first name. So anyway, when I left Canada when I was 13 from Iran, as if I left my mom, it was really hard. And of course, I didn't want to leave Iran. I wanted to stay. And so, Guruji had different plans. And so when I left, I every year I tried to go back and see my mom, my grandma, but it didn't happen. Finally, in 2003, I get this calling that this is the year, because just arriving to Canada, we were immigrants, and we started working since we were 14, both my sister and I. I mean, she was 15, and like life was just run, and every year we had summer school, or So we never had a chance to go and visit Iran summertime. So it wasn't until 2003 that life kind of got a bit, you know, after 6 years, we kind of settled in a way. And I had this inner calling. I had this like huge calling to visit Iran. I was in my early 20s, but my mom wouldn't allow me because Iran was it is still strict for women, but back then if you had like one hair coming out of your scarf, you would get arrested. It was that severe, and it was that it still is. Like if they want to, they can arrest you for whatever reason they want to, and your family, I mean, it exists today. Like just last week they arrested a woman, and the family doesn't even know where she is. And so there's a lot of wrong, or you know, hardship going on there. And at that year, 2003, it was just at the peak of it. So my mom was like, no, there's no way you're gonna go. So it wasn't until I get this like literally vivid call that, you know, I just had someone in my ear say, and it wasn't like, you know, an inner like, you know, it was literally someone saying in my ear, tell your mom if grandma passes away and you don't see her, you'll never forgive her. And it was true. It was true. I wouldn't have forgiven her. So I told her that, and my mom, of course, let me go to Iran the week after. And to this day, she says, you know, it was like an energy that wrapped itself. It wasn't me who accepted it. It was like something told me that I have to do this. So finally, I'm in Iran, July of 2003, all alone. And of course, you know, I finally go and see my grandma. I'm not going to give so much detail, but my intention was, of course, to see my grandma. But when I got there, it was like, you know, wow, you know, who am I? Am I Iranian? Am I Canadian? I wanted to explore my country. I had a lot of friends who were there from Canada, summer trip. So, you know, you're a young child and you're young and you want to explore. So finally, it was still this aunt of mine. You're here, my Satsang. So it wasn't until this aunt of mine that she came and said, look, you know, you need to go and see grandma. And I want to say that Guruji, of course, he connected the dots, but this aunt of mine, she doesn't speak up or tell anyone what to do. So it had to be, he chose someone to say, you know, he knows what to do. So he chose someone from, I have 6 aunts. So he chose someone who would have gotten my attention, because like if this aunt of mine is telling me what to do, then I felt like I was being scolded, and it went into my heart that I am doing something wrong. If she says it, I'm doing it wrong. So finally I got into a cab, went into my grandmother's house that night only, and we slept on the floor that night. And about 4 or 5 in the morning, I don't know exactly the time, something woke me up. And you know, when you sleep and you wake up, you just open your eyes and close your eyes and you go back to bed. It wasn't like that. My body was brought up, and you know, I just sat up, and at that moment I saw someone standing on the right side, just this human being, bald head, standing to the right side of my grandma's closet, his hands just up like that, and a huge third eye. It wasn't that I'm seeing a human being that scared me. It wasn't that there's someone in my grandmother's house that I have no idea who this person is. It was really and truly the third eye. And it wasn't a small third eye, you know, it was so big, like huge eye. And I just like, to this day, I'm just like, wow. So, you know, I was frightened. I was just truly I can't explain my feeling even to this day. I was so frightened. I was like, you know, I always say like the mind always wants to protect you. So my mind just said it's a ghost. So, you know, and I just heard my grandma an hour, 2 hours later waking up. And the first thing I said, you know, I ran to her and I was like, Grandma, there's someone in your home and just over there. So we, you know, Grandma's like, I was like, come, let's go. I'll show. And she was like, no, look, you need to relax. He's always around me. He's always here around me. And so, of course, you know, when she said that, I was like, look, Grandma, did I see a ghost? It's a ghost, right? And she was like, yeah, you've seen a ghost. Just relax, ghost. And so she gave me this drink to have, and I just calmed out, and we talked about it. And she said, you know, he's always around me. He's always here. He appears around me all the time. And I was like, is this house? Because you just moved into this house about like 2 years ago. And she said, no, like for the longest time that I can remember, this being, bald-headed man, just keeps appearing with this third eye around me. I want to say that I've never met any soul like my grandma to this day. She was so spiritual. I mean, she would, even in her sleep, she was saying God, 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 God. I've never to this day, I mean, I've never, when she was alive, heard her talk behind anybody. She lost her house. She lost a son. Her son drowned. The only son out of 6 daughters drowned when he was a kid. And, you know, her only mantra was, if God chose me to go through it, he knows I can handle it. So he gives you as much as he knows you can take, you know, so don't worry. And she always said, don't worry about anything. Don't worry about anything. You come with nothing, you leave with nothing. Just don't worry about nothing. And I realized today that every single thing that she said was literally what Guruji has taught me in his commandments. Everything. So simple. Be a good human being. Don't worry about nothing. Anyway, so I come back to Canada. That incident finished. I went around telling everybody that I had my own ghost experience to share. And end of July, I'm in Canada. And 3 months later, my grandma leaves her physical body. So you can imagine I had 6 aunts. Let's say they have 3 kids each, their families. I had like about 50 people contacting me after her funeral saying, how did you know that grandma was dying? How did you know that? And of course, my own family, my mom especially, was howling and crying and saying, why didn't you take me? And I'm like, you are not letting me go, let alone like, you know, what are you talking about? And so, of course, I understand she was very emotional, but so my ego went up a lot. I was named the smartest, you know, I felt really special at that time because I was praised and, you know, wow, your bond with grandma is such that she told you probably, you know, as humans, we just make up things to make our mind calm. So then, but I knew deep down to the core of me that I had no shame in that. Bless you. So then, so finally, life goes on, and from 2012 to 2018, I am severely ill. It started with, you know, my platelets dropping, so they thought it was leukemia. We did bone marrow biopsy. Shukrana to Guruji, it was not cancer, leukemia, and I had just lost a friend from leukemia that year alone. So it was really hard for me, but I was very grateful. But then the blood platelets would keep dropping significantly and they couldn't raise it. I'm not going to go so much into my ailments, but the blood issue was not just the only ailment. I had a lot of ailments that I can't really name all of them, but I mean, from insomnia to severe constipation to like severe case of insomnia. I mean, if I got half an hour of sleep, I was so blessed. Like there were times that I didn't sleep 4 days in a row. I was just a wreck. The first episode for 12 months when I was bedridden in 2012, it wasn't as severe because, you know, again, you come to help yourself, your mind, and you keep saying that this is just, it's going to pass. It's going to pass. This happens to my neighbor. It doesn't happen to me. But it kept going on and on. And I visited every hospital in Canada, but there was no help. Finally, we found this doctor in US and they gave us a drug called rituximab. And that healed me. That worked. There's a satsang behind that, but I'll share if we have time later. But so it was gone, perfect. The platelets came up and it stayed up. It wasn't falling anymore. My bruises, the bruises that I had all over my body, all of it faded. So I thought, okay, perfect. Life is, you know, great. Like it was just an episode. 2015, 2016, again it hits. And again, it starts with me seeing bruises all over my body. We go for testing. Again, platelets are at a very crucial state. So at this point, my job said, we can no longer give you long-term leave anymore. We already given you the first episode, so no more. Lost my job, moved out, lost my house. So, you know, I have to say everything that I had hope in my life, he closed the doors one by one, one by one. I was such a, I've always been very enthusiastic, very, very positive minded, but So I kept, if this door closed, I had another one to hope for, and if that one closed, I had a relationship that I could hang on to. And then I was supposed to get engaged. The guy left me and said, I can't deal with this. It's too much. Another 11 months I was bedridden. I got severely addicted to marijuana because there was no drug that could help me for my severe case of migraines. And I can't say migraines, literally. It was, I would tell the doctors that if, open my scalp and you put acid inside and it's sizzling, like, can't even describe it, or like thousands and hundreds of bees are stinging me at the same time. That's what I had in my scalp. And so, they kept injecting me with, I was like a guinea pig. Like every doctor had a different remedy and they would just poke me. I was literally in hospitals every day, being poked, tested from 9 till 6. I used to work at a bank from 9 to 5, and I was literally in the hospitals from 9 o'clock till late in the evening. It was so hard. And the second episode, it went from physical to mental. And I think we can all agree that mental ailment is what's going on in the world now. And I got to experience it myself. And I used to be a person that really didn't believe in mental ailment. And I'm so happy I went through what I went through to realize that it exists. And it was really hard for me. I slept in mental wards because I committed suicide many times, but each time he would bring me back. And I mean, suicide attempts that I'm not supposed to survive. And I'm not going to get into it ever in satsangs, but it's Guruji Maharaj can do anything. He can give you, you can be dead and you can come back to life. He can do that. Absolutely. We all know that. That's what he did for me. I was in one of the episodes, I was out for 34 seconds. There was no heartbeat. There was nothing. And he brought me back and the doctors were just amazed. So I was, they wouldn't let you go home. They would keep you in mental institution because, anyway, so the second episode, when it hit for 11 months, I lost most of my hair, all of my hair, I have to say. I had a boy cut short hair, and my family was everyone was, you can understand, everyone was dead from within. And so I started going to Iran, went to Germany, and to see the best of the doctors, which none of them could do anything for me. And I came back to Canada and I had my last suicidal attempt, and they took me to a mental ward, and this time they said, you can't come out. And I had a lot of mystical experiences, I would have dreams, vivid dreams of angels and going into different dimensions that, now I understand Guruji Maharaj had explained that there are different dimensions and there are different spiritual worlds, and I got to experience them firsthand. I saw my grandma in a different dimension where she was. Just a lot of mystical dreams. The house that I live in Canada, I was in it, in a dream before stepping into it at all. I saw one of my past lifetimes with Guruji Maharaj. I had no idea who Guruji was. I just saw myself as a man walking in this white building, which later I found out it was degree mender. During Corona, actually, because there's no photos of any mender that I saw of degree mender, and there was one photo of it, and I was like, that's where I was. But I'm so blessed that I was guided to write these down when it happened, because I could come back to it. So he showed me a lot of mystical dreams, a lot of past lifetimes, why I got into flight attendant, why I became a branch, why I got into banking. So a lot of it, he took me back to my past lifetimes, a lot of mystical dreams. And one day I lied to the mental institution people, the nurses, and I was like, look, I've been faking it. I lied to her saying that I've been lying, that, I've just been wanting to get attention and blah, blah, blah. I made up a lot of things. And it was really Guruji guiding me. Literally, I just woke up one day and it was someone was telling me, you need to get out of this place. And it really, I don't know how they expect people to heal in that environment. It was a prison, but they wanted people to heal there, which anyway, so I lied to her. And it's a satsang of its own that she let me go, because it was like 4 a.m. and I'm like begging this nurse that, look, I'm feeling much better. I have to go. We have this family gathering early in the morning. I lied and lied and lied. and I have to be there at 7 in the morning. And she's like, I can't let you go. You're in our red zone basically, and I need a second doctor to sign you off. And I was like, please God help me. I just kept saying that. I came back to my room, and then all of a sudden I see her walking back, and she just said, you know what? You can go. It's fine. I'll sign you off. And now again, I had forgotten all of these, like truly, and Guruji kept bringing me back to what he's done for me. So fine, I healed with some herbal medication, but I want to say what happened was that night that I kept calling upon God, finally, after 11 months, I came home from the mental ward. I took everything, I put all my clothes in the laundry, changed my clothes, and came on my bed, and it was still dark out, like it was 6 in the morning ish, 5:30. I don't know the time exact, but I was looking out the window of my building. I lived in downtown Toronto at the time, and I see like the moon, like I see a ball of light, and I was like, that's the moon. Again, the mind wants to decide right away, make an assumption to calm you out. And I was like, but why is the moon moving? And I was like, wait a second, the moon is usually on that side where you could see it from my mom's balcony. Why am I seeing it from my room? And I saw the moon moving and getting smaller. And I was like, I'm definitely crazy. Like at this point, I even told myself out loud that I am crazy. Like people, like I have to be back in the mental institution. Then I saw this ball of light getting smaller and smaller and smaller and came through my window. It did a swirl, like it didn't come straight at me. It went around, and I was lying in bed, and it just came and it went right inside my stomach, like right here, where your soul resides. And I was just frozen. I was just like, what? Something from the sky came in my stomach, like in my body. So I healed the next day, literally. I wasn't getting my period at all for 3 years. I was swollen, and I was just going chubby and chubby. I couldn't eat. I couldn't do anything, but I got my period the next day. I healed a bit. I healed a bit. So my family, of course, said, it must be the herbal medication. It must be the stock. It must be the new thing that we just did this week. And I was like, yeah. Never shared the white light with nobody, but I wrote all of it down. And life moved on. I healed a bit better. I was better. I wasn't 100%, but I was better. Just the fact that I got my period, I was like, it's good. It's something is working my body. So 3rd episode hits, 25th of December, tomorrow. Such a crucial day for me. So it hits, and the only thing that I had in my mind was to leave this body, to leave. I had no other desire, where the 1st episode and second episode, I wanted to live. But 3rd episode, I was like, it was 100% for me. And I knew in my heart of my heart that I'm not going to live. But because of my parents, I respected them, and they said, until February, we go to doctors. If it's still the same thing, they can't help. So they requested me, let's go back to Iran, let's go here, let's go there, let's go to Australia, let's go to this. I was like, no, Canada, February. If it works. If it doesn't, then I'm not going anywhere. Then I'm not going to doctors anymore or hospitals. So then what happened was, till February, we tried. No one could do anything, of course, his Leela. And my spiritual journey started happening. So I was home now, where I was literally every day. I had a plan, right? I was at the hospitals every day. Now I had no plan. So my spiritual journey started where I would go downtown. And in downtown Toronto, there's so many churches out, like literally, it's like Iran and mosques. Everywhere there is a mosque. And I walked in and I walked out, and there was churches everywhere. So I would go to this church and that church, and I would just be in that environment, because it was so heavy inside my house. My parents were really heartbroken, and especially during the 3rd episode. My mom was dead from within, literally. I mean, we can all understand. So I started going to temples, mosques, churches, Sufi homes, anywhere and anywhere that you can imagine. I went. I went to Montreal. Let's just say not only in Toronto, I went to another city, Montreal, to this temple, Shivananda temple, which I had no idea, but I happened to be there for Mahashivratri. Again, I had no idea who Lord Shiva was. There was a big statue of Lord Shiva. Didn't pay attention to any of it. And, just was there and came back. Um, and it was till June that I was so tired from seeking help, not only from the hospitals, but also in this spiritual path. I was just done. I was like, God doesn't exist, nothing exists. But there was this surrender in me and I know He injected it because He's the cause of all causes, like Shiv Puran says. And finally, suddenly, I just surrendered. I was like, before that, I had the desire to die. And I didn't even have that anymore. So the desire vanished. To live, there was no desire. To die, there was no desire. There was no desire for anything. It was like acceptance of whatever is. And I'll just sit in here I just be like this for the rest of my life. I'll accept it. It was acceptance. And like a couple minutes later, I have this vision as if, He takes my body from my room and puts me back into my grandmother's house. At that time in 2008, it was 15 years back in 2003. So I'm sitting in, like, literally, I'm in my grandmother's house. Everything changes around me. I'm sitting right there. And He took me to a different dimension. I can't really describe it. And I open my eyes and I see this divine being right in front of me. And I hear in my ear, pray to me. And the next words that came out of my mouth was, "You're the only supernatural being I've seen. And it's been confirmed by my grandma. You helped me." My life became a miracle after June 2018. That was end of June. I think I was like 25th of June. And 1st of July, Canada Day, I get this, I just get this feeling that I should go put some hair color on my hair because this liquid would come out of my scalp. And it was oily all the time. Like literally, if I took a shower and I came out, it was oily. And I was like, let me go put hair color. I go to the pharmacy. The pharmacy's closed. So at that moment, again, the one-on-one started happening on 1st of July vividly. And this voice told me, go to C3 Church. And this church was recommended to someone who came into my life just to recommend this church, and she left my life. Like it was just someone, like, his Leela. And so I searched the church, and it's within 45 minutes downtown Toronto. How come I've never been to this church? I've pretty much been everywhere downtown Toronto. I start walking towards it. I get to this broken down church, and I have to say, during the third episode, my tears had dried up. Like literally, I mean that. I always say I've heard it in movies, but during the third episode, I had no emotion inside. I wouldn't, even if you told me the best joke like my parents would comedy movies in front of me so my mood would change, wouldn't smile, wouldn't cry, didn't matter. I had no emotion. And I now understand it was Guruji's Leela to put me into that building because I started howling. It took so long and so much energy for me to walk in that state that I was, with the physical ailments that I had. I mean, if I moved, I had a bruise in my body. Let's just say it that way. So you can understand it was so hard for me to move. And I started howling, just sat on the ground like a homeless. And I started saying, whatever you want from me, do it, because I'm not moving from here. I can't. I just can't. And at that moment, He takes over my body. I go towards this other building. He tells me the church is actually there. So I realized later that they've moved locations. That was the old church, which was, anyway, they came to a new building. And at that moment, I see a girl standing right in front of the church. And she has a tattoo on her left arm, huge, with roses and a sword, and with a Persian letter. So I'm looking at a white Canadian girl, but she has like Arabic letter, which is similar to Persian alphabet. And the only thing that catches my eyes is mumkin, and mumkin in Farsi means possible. And so I just said, what, again, Guruji, I didn't know Guruji, but this voice kept telling me, ask her what this means. What does your tattoo mean? Anything is possible. Anything can happen. Can I take a photo of it? Yes, took a photo. Later I was like, I didn't even care for my life, let alone a tattoo when taking a photo of it. but I understand why Guruji got me to do these things, you know. So anyway, I go to the church, but I want to say, before I walked into the church, before this happening and seeing this girl, from the first church, the wrong church, to the actual church, I was fast walking, kind of running, and crying, like howling on the street. And like people were staring at me on the street. And you know, downtown Toronto is really busy, but I didn't care for anybody at that point. And I was just like finally let go of caring about what people think, that, you know, because I was like, I don't care, I'm already naked, like I'm already dead. What's the point of keeping this image? And so anyway, so I was fast walking and running to this church, because again, I was getting this guidance that you have to be there at 10:30. You have to be there on time. So the moment I go to the church, they close the doors, they start worship music, praising Jesus, and like, you know, they start singing. And the girl, after 5 minutes, stops the music, like looks back and tells the band, everybody stop. Like she put her hand like this, stop. And the next thing that she said to me changed my vibration at that moment. And she said, someone on the way to church. So we're talking someone on the podium, about 600 people sitting in this church. It was a huge church. And she turns around and says, someone on the way to church today was running and crying. And God wants you to know that this suffering is over and land of grace is near. So I'm like, something just went connected, you know, something got my attention. And okay, fine. I wrote all of these down. Like they give you these donation forms, and I found it was all His grace. I found a pen literally under my chair, and I have to say, the chair that I sat on in this church called C3, it had a trishul on it, like just, and I took photos, like just amazing, you know. So then I wrote all of these down, like, you know, this person said, you know, someone on the way, like I was running, but you know, you have lost faith and hope so much that you're like, this doesn't exist. This is not for me. Just, I never imagined this world, to be honest with you, let alone Lord Shiva, or I had no idea, I mean, of any of it. So anyway, so I'm coming out of the church, and I remember I sent a prayer kneeling outside, and just to Jesus and whatever. And I was like, whoever you are, I don't care if you're Jesus, God, Allah, whatever you are, whoever that communicated with me inside of there, I need you, not for an hour, not for 2 hours, not for a week. I need you eternally. I said these exact words. I need you eternally. So, okay, fine. I start walking back. I go back on Yonge and Bloor area downtown. And finally, my feet are stuck in front of this bookstore. And at that moment, again, He's telling me, go inside the bookstore. And I go. And after 45 minutes, I just sent a prayer that, God, you know, in what financial state I am. I don't have anything. And I literally was at the end of my savings. And I mean it. I probably had like, if I remember, I probably had like $700 left, you know. So I was like, I got nothing. So please, you choose the books that you want for me, you know. You choose for me. And at that moment, literally, I get a vision again, like, you know, this mystical thing happens to me, as if someone took me back to my bedroom when I came out from the mental institution, and I saw the white light, and I heard a voice say, pick up the book right in front of you. And the light connected. Like, I can't really describe it, but like it just got connected. And at that moment, I saw The Divine Light by Anita Kumar. So I want to say two things. First of all, at that time, there were no Sangat downtown. And if they were, like, everybody lives in Brampton. Like, I'm talking about an hour away from this bookstore. So it's not possible. Two, no Sangat would give this book, you know, would return a book or would give this book away. Like, you wouldn't do that. It's about Guruji. No Sangat would do that. Three, it's just wasn't there. Like, I literally had studied this. There was only one shelf that was full of spiritual books, and I was there for an hour, and I opened every book. It wasn't like I just looked and, you know, passed by. I literally took every book out, because I was like, I'm bedridden, I got nothing else to do. Like, nobody's expecting me to be anywhere, so let me just chill. And I got really good energy just standing by that spiritual section. I had no idea, but it was the divine light, really. So I pick up this book and I come out, and I've told Anita and like everybody, I literally made fun of the book in my head. It was like someone's story about their guru. Like I kept referring to Eat, Pray, Love. Like, what, blah, blah, blah. Somebody went and did her whole vacation and did this and did that and wrote about it. And, I was like, none of this exists. But the book came out with me. So I realized from there, at that incident, Guruji was teaching me that no matter what decision, whether it's a book that you're buying, whether it's lipstick you're buying, whether it's a bed you're buying, a car or whatever, silly, materialistic or not, whatever you do, before making any decision, just like Paramahansa Yogananda says, call upon God and He will choose for you. And that was my example. That was it, because the book came out with me. Went home, put it on the floor, never opened it, read another book. No coincidence, it was called Experiencing the Supernatural. So Experiencing the Supernatural. I didn't even bother opening. I had no, I didn't care for even reading a book. And so 5th of July, I have a dream. I have a dream that I'm in a satsang. I've never been a satsang in my life, nor did I open the book to know about what satsang was. I just saw vivid, alive, that I'm in this satsang, and there's a chair gatti there, and there are people sitting in such organized manner. And then this door on the left side opens up, and how security, like a celebrity wants to come in and celebrity just forms around the door. That's what happened. People just, a lot of tall men actually came out and formed around the door, and we were waiting. I was just staring at the door, I remember. And then no human being came, but a ball of energy, a blur ball came out, and it came. It didn't change size. It just came and it went into my stomach. I fainted. I've never fainted in physical life to this day. Fainted in my dream. And the moment still in dream phase, the moment I woke up, I saw Guruji Maharaj sleeping right beside me. I didn't know who Guruji was, but I just wrote in my notebook, who is this bald-headed man sleeping right beside me on this bed? And why was he wearing a dress? Like a dark brown dress, like a man wearing a dress, so it was weird. And so, okay, life moved on. And 2 days later, the moment I wake up, I get this divine voice saying, you gotta read this book. Go open the book. So I want to say, the moment I opened this book, as if a hand came out and if you have gushing blood coming out of your hand and somebody just comes and stops the blood, you can feel the difference. Literally, when I opened the book, something happened in my head, which I can't describe to you with words. My pain went from 300%, in this section of my head, to yeah, I felt different. Everything became lighter. Now I was so sensitive to light. I was so sensitive to noise. So I had these ear things in my ear, and I had glasses on, but I took my glasses off. The sun didn't hurt me. The noise didn't hurt me. Something was different in my body. So long story short, I'm reading the book, and somebody had said, Guruji's Lord Shiva. He tells me, Google Lord Shiva. And that's when I saw the third eye. And I'm like, third eye. So you can imagine my pain was so much that if something happened 3 seconds before, let alone 1st of July, I forgot about it. So I truly forgot about the cover of the book. Even though I had the book in my hand 10 minutes before, my memory was such, the pain was so excruciating that I didn't remember anything. And I don't think I wanted to remember, because I had no desire to live, So then, then he says to me, look at the cover of the page. I'm the man that I came to you in the dream 2 days ago, and I'm the man at your grandmother's house. And I'm looking at the cover going, that is him. That's who I saw in my dream just 2 days ago. And my grandmother's house, but he had a third eye. And then that's what clicks. Lord Shiva, Guruji's incarnation. So he kept answering me. Whatever I had in my ear, in my thoughts, he would answer through the book. Everything, it was he was forming it in my head, and the answer would manifest on the book. Form, manifest, form, manifest. So at that moment, I was like, look, Guruji, I don't have faith in anyone, anything, not even myself. So if you're real, I need something special. Whoever you are, I will believe in you. Like, because I've seen you, you're the only supernatural being. I believe in you. And at that moment, I read in the book that Guruji's special day is July 7th. And I want to say I had no idea what day we were on. I knew we were in July or August. I knew we were in May, but I had no idea what day. I didn't need to know. And at that moment, he's like, look at your phone, the calendar. Today is my day. And I had literally opened the book on his birthday. So you can imagine my life changed. All my ailments faded on their own July of 2018. From July 7 to July 13, I had no idea about anything about Guruji. And it broke my heart when I read about his Mahasamadhi. I felt like it's even more painful now. Like, you've come to me, but you're not there. So how do I go forward? How do I want more? I can't. So I read the book so many times, and each time I read it, I would get a new answer. Each time, as if he was manifesting, words. And it's like, I read this book 5 times before, but this was not, but I realized, like, we evolve, and he, based on what we go through, he, certain answers has to come alive at a certain time and point where it's not supposed to before, So anyway, so I was like, Guruji, I need more of you. Then I remembered, in one of the chapters, he talks about, Anita talks about Giti, Aunty, who has Facebook, who opened Facebook. And I was like, good, Gita Manga. And she, so I was like, look, Guruji, I'm not opening Facebook because you told me, like, even before Guruji Maharaj came into my life, I had this inner intuition that close everything and don't give your energy to anything that doesn't deserve your energy. So for me, I'm not saying for other people, for me, it didn't make sense to have social media, put photos of food and myself and what am I promoting? Like, it just didn't make sense for me, for other people to see, to have access to my personal life. Like, I never was guided for that. Even if I had Facebook or social media, I was never active. So whatever I had, he guided me 5 years prior to this incident to close everything. And I realized that my energy was saved. Like, I was giving too much of my energy to things that didn't need it. But I understand if you have your business and like, that's different. For me personally, it didn't make sense to advertise my personal life on any, so I had closed social media, everything, no Facebook, no Instagram. To this day, I don't have it. And so I was like, Guruji, I'm not opening Facebook, because I'm not gonna. But then he said, go and Google my name. So I did. And that's when I found his website. And that's when he was guiding me, go click on Satsang, go do this. I found Satsangs, found Toronto. And at the time, of course, there was no Corona. In 2018, I found a lot of Satsangs happening in Toronto. And I called one auntie initially, and she said, the first thing I said was, hi, I was like reluctant. I was like, what am I going to say to this person? I don't know this world. I don't know anything. I was like, look, I just want to ask, these meditations, these satsangs, is it in English? And she said, no, it's all in Hindi. And we hung up. So then, I don't know, sometime later, Guruji's like, go back and call again. So there was a different number. And, an uncle picked up. And I was like, look, you need to hear my story. Don't call me crazy, but you need to understand that this person in this book, I've seen him in Iran in 2003. And he was like, wait, I'm going to leave my work. You need to share this with me. And that for me was like, wow, like he actually did that for me. So he went and he was at the end of the satsang, he was like, and I kept sorry, I didn't share as to this much. Like, I was so afraid and fearful of what he's going to think of me, that this person is calling me and telling me things that it's just, I was very fearful, basically. But he listened and he was like, look, you're so blessed. This is Guruji Maharaj. And my life literally changed. He invited me to satsang, went to my first satsang. I got there late. It was like an hour and a half away from where I lived, where most Sangat live. And I got there and I didn't bow to Guruji Maharaj. I didn't know what I'm supposed to do. I just sat. And when the satsang sharing time came, Guruji said, get up and share your satsang. Sorry. get up and share your satsang. And I was like, look, Guruji, this is my first time. I don't know, like let other people share. Because I understood this other auntie was sharing about how Guruji cured her cancer. And I was like, look, I'm not gonna share. It's my first time. So we were having a one-on-one. And then he's like, no, you get up and share. And I was like, no, Guruji, I'm not gonna get up. He's like, okay, I'll give you your headaches back. And I got my headaches back. I didn't get like 300% like that, but I got enough for my state to change. And I was like, look, if this is you wanting me to share, I will share. But you need to show me that this is your call. Like you want me to. This isn't me. I don't want to take any more step in my life without your agya. I don't want it. I don't want to do nothing. I don't want to brush my hair without your agya. Basically, like I was in that state in my life. Like I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I am. And like, you know, I'm resurrected in you and I just want you to decide for me everything. So then this girl all of a sudden walks in from the kitchen, the kitchen of the Sangat's home, and she's wearing a t-shirt with an arrow up, and that says on the middle, rise. And for me, that was like Guruji said, I'm telling you to rise. Get up. It's time for you to rise. And I was like, I got up, shared the satsang, and of course, I understand today that you don't get your healing only by langar, by eating the food, by hearing shabads, by attending satsangs. You don't. You also get healed by sharing. When Guruji Maharaj says there's a blessing for you, and my headaches gone from that moment when I shared the satsang. All of it, all of my ailments, the cysts that I had these, I think I had like 50 cysts in my stomach. Like I said, I didn't go into severity of nothing in my body was working. And like literally the moment I shared, I went to like after that sharing, I had to go to the washroom and I was there for a good while. And like I realized a lot of things was happening in my body. He was sharing. So if you're guided to share satsang, do it, because anyway, none of it belongs to you and you're getting healed and he's healing other people. So the body can heal. Even financially, I've sangat that financial things has happened. They just, the moment they got up and shared about something else, you know, like all of a sudden something happened in their life and like they shared and their employee called and said, you have a promotion, let's say, you know. So truly Shukrana to Guruji Maharaj. Every day has been a satsang. It's not like, it's truly not this up. And I myself, I was one of those people who didn't have the wisdom that it's not supposed to be now Guruji's in our life and I'm supposed to be, you know, riding the best car and being in this spiritual path and he'll take care of all of it. And it's all, you know, it's just amazing celebration every day. Actually, the best celebration comes through the suffering. And like he told Anita, truly we as humans, we're so conditioned and programmed that suffering is bad, but it's actually the opposite. If you're suffering, if you're being squeezed like a lemon, it's a blessing and it's just his grace. And so, you know, there's so many, I mean, just being here in Dubai, I have to say, as you know, Corona in Canada, second episode hit. I was supposed to book, you know, let me share the satsang and I'll leave it at that. One day, I hear Guruji say, you need to travel. And I was like, Guruji, I don't have to tell you, but you know, Corona's happening. So the world is, you know, the world has like, I didn't go anywhere when the first episode hit and it wasn't that bad. Now Canada is like severely bad. So like, where do I go? And, you know, it's like, truly you decide. If you want me to go anywhere, it doesn't matter. You decide for me. So I said that to Guruji and that's it. So 3 days later, I wake up. First thing I hear is call Anita. And literally the first thought that came, and usually the first thought, as we all know, is Guruji. We sleep, it's Guruji. We wake up, it's Guruji. And for the first time, it was Anita. And I hadn't spoken to Anita. We had texted and messaged this while, and but we didn't really, we didn't call each other, because truly we have to understand that as Sangat, we don't need to be in touch physically. First of all, we're on a different relationship with one another. If you and I don't talk, we're not supposed to anyway. We have a telepathic relationship, and our relationships are very spiritual. So it's not about this physical. I mean, Sunny Aunty, who I stayed with in India, I haven't spoken to her for months, but I'm so connected to her telepathically. I talk to her. And like, that's all that there is to it. Shukrana to Guruji Maharaj. Thank you. And so anyway, so call Anita. I call her physically. And the first thing, so she's in a satsang. I was in a satsang. I was actually heading to satsang. You know, I was like, okay, I heard this in the morning. I'll call Anita. And the moment I called, she's in a satsang and she just says, hi, come to Dubai. And I was like, are you serious? Like, Guruji just told me I have to travel. So I come and I book for my flight. And because I didn't, you know, I have to watch out financially still because it's been only 2 years that I've been healing. Shukrana to Guruji. So being truthful, you know, I haven't been really active. I've been only active in my spiritual journey. And I pretty much was working since I was 14. So Guruji's like, look, you need to chill and calm out and explore this world now so I can do the inner healing. Don't go back into the world right away. And even though my family and everyone around me was so rejecting of it, but I listened to Guruji and I'm so happy I didn't, and I didn't go back to this, you know, materialistic life right away. And so anyway, so I was like, you know what, I have to take this. I can't do the direct flight. So I'll do, to be able to be comfortable financially, I have to go through. So it was connecting to a European destination. I was ready to book, great price, ready to book. The moment I come to book, somebody in my family walks in through the door and says, what are you doing? And this person never asks me. And I'm like, I'm just booking my flight. And he's like, where? And I'm like, this. And then he's like, why don't you go direct? And I'm like, no, it's just right now I can't. And he said, let me help you. You go direct. And I was like, Jai Guruji, you know, his ways. So I want to say there's a satsang behind it, because had I booked that original flight to Europe that same day when I traveled on 20th of December, all the, like literally an hour before my flight, Canadian government decided that the UK government decided that there's no more flights to it. So can you realize his divinity? Like, it's incredible. So he definitely chose it. He paid for it. And he chose Anita being here, because Anita and I, anyway, so he just all of it happened by his grace and no coincidences, truly. And it's just incredible. I mean, my luggage alone, just coming to Dubai, it takes forever. I've been to Dubai before from Canada. My luggage was first. Like, you know, it's like I landed at 7 p.m. I was out at 7:30. And my, you know, of course, with Guruji Maharaj, it's never asking. So it was like on the flight, I was like, Guruji, I'm not going to ask, but it'd be nice if we go to Satsang the moment we get there, you know? But I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave it to you, my life in your hands, no plans, you decide. And then all of a sudden, the moment we get in, and it says like, we're going to a Satsang. And what do we want? I will share this last. Our only purpose in this life, in this Kali Yuga, is Guruji and Guruji only. That's it. We have no other purpose. That's it. We're only vessels and instruments of His to heal the world. And you think that you're sitting in a satsang with 5 people, one yourself, or 2 people. You think it's just you. It's not. You're healing, not you. He, through you, is healing humanity, and not only the universe alone, you know. So it's so crucial. Your being is so crucial. You being chosen is so crucial. And I remember one day I was like, Guruji, what's the plan? You know, what's the plan? Because I'm not going into banking anymore. You are. Guruji is. So I was like, I'm not going to banking at all. It doesn't serve me. I know what my calling is. And I was like, Guruji, what's my purpose? And suddenly, I think it was Shilpi that day. Guruji uses her a lot, Shukrana, and just like any other Sangat, you know, to send his divine messages. Shilpi messages me and says, son, come to the satsang, join. I was like, okay. And, you know, we get these invitations all the time now, Shukrana to Guruji, but I didn't, I was like, I couldn't join. But all of a sudden, Guruji said, join, just join. And it was satsang sharing, and all of a sudden, Anita came on, and I had no idea. And all of a sudden, she said, if you don't know what your purpose is, Guruji is your purpose. And for me, that was so amazing, because I had literally 2 hours before I had said, Guruji, what's my purpose? And, you know, so then repeatedly through spiritual books, the holy science, Paramahansa Yogananda, Autobiography of Yogi, like all of it, kept bringing me that in this time of Kali Yuga, only and only Guruji is our purpose. There is no, you've already done the material, you've done the job, you've done the career, you've done all the family, the marriage, the kids, everything in your past lifetimes. You are and only here for him, to be used by him, and that's it. So truly leave your plans, leave everything. Now, sorry if I'm saying, don't listen to me, sorry. Go to Guruji, connect yourself. This is all just my own experience. Truly for me has been, leave it, because what went by your planning anyway, nothing has ever has gone according to my plan. So then I think I've got my understanding, and that it's all his plan. He chooses you, you are his. There is no other way. It's not you telling Guruji what he should do with your life. It's you going to Guruji and saying what he should do, how he could use you as a vessel. That should be our, prayer. That raise my frequency, just like Anita says, it's very nicely. I think it's in Turning the Page, or I'm not sure what book. It's Guruji, I'm not asking for anything, but raise my frequency to your level so I can be aligned, so I can be used as an instrument of your purpose. Bas. So shukrana to Guruji. We all have a purpose. He will use us where he needs us to be. And I think we're done. Like, our purpose is already complete. We have him. That's it. And shukrana every moment to Guruji Maharaj. We are so blessed. We're so chosen. Right now in Toronto, not only has he connected so many Persian people, not only in Iran, he's blessed so many Iranian people. When you're ready, let me know. And I just keep going on and on. I'm like, Anita, when you're ready, just give me the. So,
is there still time to share them?
Is there time to share still?
Sure. Yes, please.
Yeah, they want you. Yeah, she's coming. She's coming. So, and it was really Guruji reminding us this morning about the satsang, because I totally forgot, because I think it was coordinated by Anita, and something happened yesterday that we slept really late. So really Guruji used Shilpi again to send me a message and say, I literally was going out and I just said, I'll charge my phone, and I look at my phone and you're sharing in a couple of minutes, and I was like, oh my God, Anita. So it's all Guruji. If he wants you somewhere, he will do it. You are nothing. We are nothing. He has the remote control, like Aunty always says. And don't worry about anything. Don't worry about nothing. He's so big that it's nothing for him to get, like, look, I got to a wrong church, but he took over my body, and I went to the right. He where you're supposed to go. He has your remote control. Ego is control. The moment you go into thinking what life is going to come, how things are going to come, like Guruji told Anita Kumar, the moment you stop thinking is when I start thinking. And I know it's so easy it's so easy for me to say this, because I myself, in 15 minutes, I'm going to go into thinking what I'm going to do. But it's coming back to that teaching and learning that we're not in control of anything. And we already have the purpose. And that's it, So shukrana every moment.
So I collect from my phone.
I'm going to hand over. You have enough charge. I'm going to say Jai Guruji. I cello. Jai Guruji. Love you all.